You are the father.
Released movie Striptease, starring actress Demi Moore, one of the most hyped films of the summer. And although Striptease is a comedy, the storyline has raised a great deal of moral and ethical questions, great many of them. Is it acceptable for working moms to make a living at taking it off, or stripping, as the movie title suggests? Well, let's see if we can try and understand what goes on behind the scenes. My first two guests say yes, it is definitely okay to strip for a living. That's because Randy and Jeanette are both working moms who've been paying their bills and supporting their children with the money they make as strippers. There are many people, of course, who don't agree with Randy and Jeanette, but then they're not in their shoes. We're going to hear from them a little later. 25-year-old Jeanette is the mother of two, and she has been stripping since she was 16. 26-year-old Randy is the mother of a 4-year-old son, has been stripping for over 7 years. Let's meet her. Come on out, Randy. Randy, I'm going to give you a moment to catch your breath and put that microphone on. Randy's younger brother, Greg, and mom, Linda, by the way, both strongly disapprove of Randy's dancing, and they're backstage, and they're going to join us in a minute. We're going to talk about this from a family point of view. So, Jeanette, can we start with you? You have children?
Two.
Two children.
I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old who will be 3 in September.
Okay, who takes care of your 3-year-old when you're dancing? I mean, does she come to the clubs?
I have a babysitter that travels with me, and she never comes to the club. She will never see the inside of a bar, at least if I have anything to do with it.
What do you usually, how much do you usually earn, and how long do you work for that?
My base salary is $3,500 a week.
Right.
I can usually match that in tips and Polaroids if I work hard.
Okay, so you can make $7,000 a week. Randy, like Jeanette, you're also a mom, and your son, you have one child,
Yeah.
4.5 years old? What happened when your family found out?
Well, at first I didn't let my mom know, even that I was doing it. I told her I was waitressing at a bar and that they were teaching me how to do all that, and I may learn how to bartend or whatever, but I didn't tell her I was dancing. I told her what kind of bar it was, but just that I wasn't dancing. And finally I told her I was, but it was only bikini, and then she came in and saw me, and she thought it was horrible, but appreciated the fact that I was dancing well, but that was about it. She didn't appreciate the bar at all. And so that basically is when I told her the truth, and she hated it. She absolutely hated it.
You know your brother Greg and your mother Linda are embarrassed about what you do. You know that,
Yes,
you
I
know
do.
they're here, right?
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Like I said, I'm sorry if it embarrasses them. I don't mean to be an embarrassment, and I think everything else that I am is not an embarrassment, so this is a very minuscule thing.
Right.
The rest of me, I'm a very warm-hearted person, I'm a very intelligent person, so as far as that goes, I'm a good person, and what I do for a living shouldn't be of any consequence to them. But I'm sorry.
Let's talk to them. Come on out, Greg and Linda. You, Linda, were backstage watching your daughter. What were you thinking?
She's got more brains than to use her body.
But she enjoys what she's doing.
I have a job that I feel is kind of respectful, and I do better than my sister does. It does something, in my opinion, and a lot of people would probably back me in the audience, and a lot of brothers and fathers of sisters and daughters that do this would definitely agree with me that you can find better ways if you apply yourself to make money and
To
do
make
something.
the same amount of money that you
Oh,
can
most
make?
definitely, most definitely.
How much do you make?
Any anesthesiologist in this country makes much more than you or my sister will ever make.
Oh, yeah, after you go
If you go to school. But the
After
whole
you
point
go
is,
through all the school.
I've seen you spend so much time on these sketches, on these shows about how you're going to do this and how you're going to do that. Spend that time studying. I guarantee you're going to get something out of it in the long run.
Yeah, what am I gonna do to
you got
survive?
straight A's in school. You got straight A's in school. You don't get straight A's because you're stupid.
And what am I
You
gonna
don't get
do?
straight A's because you're
What am I
stupid.
gonna do to
You're
support
not,
myself
You're not
while
a
I'm
good
going to
person as
school?
far as writing poems and doing your illustrations. I mean, you don't want to sell those because those are too personal to you.
That's right.
Those are other avenues that you could explore to actually get somewhere in life outside of having
But
to do
that's
this.
not the avenue I want to take. My
But you're-
writing is mine.
The whole thing is you're completely self-centered about this. It's I'm making myself
Well,
happy.
it's my life.
I don't have.
I have a right to be
I don't have a
self-centered.
relationship with my nephew anymore. I had a nephew for 2 years. I don't have a nephew anymore. Come on, be realistic. When was the
Grandson
last
or
time I've
nephew.
seen my nephew? When was the last time I've seen my nephew?
If I had been living down in Florida, I wouldn't have been able to take care of him. I would not have been able to pay the
You
bills.
had the opportunity to go to school, stay at home, live rent-free.
She was paying your rent, and she was going to pay your rent and pay for you to go to
Work.
school. And you,
For
and
your
you said
spending
no.
money.
Herself. Maybe she doesn't
There
want to
are
be
many
supported by
avenues.
anybody
That's the whole
else.
thing. You're not going to
That's
make
right.
your.
I would
mean,
be
you're going to
under
make
your
yourself
thumb,
happy,
under
but make the
your
rest of
rule.
your family
Because
unhappy
you're
I was
and
an adult
embarrassed.
and a mother.
I think that's pretty self-centered.
No.
I think you should keep your whole family in the picture. I don't do what I want to do strictly because of myself. I do it because I want to have a better life for my family when I get older, and I think about things in a broader spectrum. It's not me, myself, and I. That's the impression I get from
I
you
don't
girls.
think
It's
of me,
strict.
myself, and I either.
I can't refer to you because I don't know you for like 30 seconds. I can refer to the experience that I've had with her. And that I can say.
You were up in upstate. I was
Craig.
down in Florida. You know, I moved back to Florida.
How-
Mom wouldn't let me stay there if I didn't go get a job at Publix or something.
If you stripped.
Yeah,
Exactly.
if I
Weren't to
stripped.
stay there and
at
strip.
that point, that's when I was getting ready to go on the road. I would have been on the road.
How long have you been
hearing about
going on the
women
I would
road?
have been on the
forever.
road.
I've gone-
You were going to
I've
help
gone
me with
many places in
costumes.
this
You
time
didn't give me
trying
a
to
hard
go on the
time
road.
about
You
it. As
never
soon
made
as
it.
I came back home, that's when you gave me a hard time
Craig, there was a
about it.
time when you went to a bachelor party that you attended. What
Yeah. Any guy in the audience, please think about this situation. You're going over to a friend of yours' house. You're a junior in high school. Your friends are a bit older, maybe some of your friends are older. You go over to your friend's house that you've been at every day for the whole entire summertime. You find out that there's a stripper going on, or two strippers going on, for a bachelor party. Well, I go to my friend's house. She's well aware of who these friends are. Maybe she didn't know at the time.
No, I did
I
not.
don't know for sure, whatever.
I didn't.
Regardless,
I wouldn't have
I
done
come into a party with all my good friends. Who's a stripper? My sister. My sister.
You were not there at that party.
No,
you
I
heard
was
about
there
it
right
after the fact.
after you got done stripping.
After
I was there
gone.
at the party.
After
no,
I was
no,
gone.
I was there at the
didn't see
tail
you.
end.
I didn't even see you at the
Because
party.
that was because you and or whatever and were having some sort of words or discrepancies or,
I was
or arguing
gone,
or whatever
and you
the
told
case
me
may
later
be.
on that you found out about the party.
All I can
and
say
I didn't know that it
is
was
if
your
any
friend.
guy
'cause
were
some
to
of
walk
my
into
friends
a party,
are the ones who
a
hired me.
bachelor party with 40 drunk guys and being told, yeah, your sister has a really nice setup and your sister should have spent if you're hearing that stuff as a brother, you maybe can't relate, but I guarantee all these guys that are sitting right here in this front row, or any of these guys in any of these rows, would definitely say, that is really, really bunk.
Well, maybe it is bunk, but I went in, I danced.
But you
For
see,
$100,
every dancer.
$100.
Wait,
No,
wait.
I made
Wait. Every
Okay.
dancer is
Whatever.
somebody's
For 3
sister,
songs.
somebody's
And
mother,
then I
somebody's
left.
daughter.
Whatever.
If these guys are so bummed, what are they doing going to these strip places? We'll be right back. Coming up, this stripper says she used to have to steal food to feed her baby daughter. Now she's making over $2,500 a week, bearing it all for total strangers. And later, you're going to hear from an actress who played a stripper in the movie Striptease. Stay with us. Let us meet 33-year-old Tara. She is the mother of one. She is married. She has been stripping 15 years. Tara, did you tell your family about your dancing from the start?
No,
You did not
no.
either.
I told my mother I was a bartender for about a year, and I told her I was bartending. It was in the combat zone in Boston. And after a year, she said, "You're not tending bar. You're dancing." And she was more upset that I lied to her than about what I was doing for a living.
Are they all right with it, your family?
Yeah, my mother said that she might not approve of what her children decide to do in their lives, but they're her children, and she loves them, and she will support them in their decisions.
You were a welfare mother. Explain what happened.
Well, I was a dancer for a long time, and I got pregnant, and my daughter's natural father loved me, loved me, loved me, loved me. He knew I was a dancer, but when I got pregnant, he said, "You're a slut, you're a stripper, I don't want anything to do with you." So I worked as long as I could. I saved my money, and I paid off all the bills that I could, and I got a nice apartment. But children are expensive, and I didn't realize the expense, and I ended up on welfare. And it's
You
really...
stopped stripping.
Yeah, well, I was out to here. I couldn't work anymore. And I had a difficult pregnancy, so I couldn't get a waitress job or any kind of a job. My last few months, I was flat on my back, so I couldn't do anything. So I ended up on welfare, which was about the lowest point of my life. And the allotment they gave us was not enough to live on, so when she was born, they raised it a little bit. But, you know, there were times where if I needed diapers or I had to eat, she got diapers. And when I used to take her to the doctor's office, they'd leave me in the waiting room before I had to bring her for a checkup, and I always brought a big diaper bag, and I'd shove as much formula in there as I could because I couldn't afford to buy any for her. And I said, "I'm not living like this anymore. This is not for me. This is not for her. This is not what I wanted." So I went back to work. I went back to dancing.
How do you feel about this?
I see nothing wrong with it at all. It's an honest living. People out there on welfare not working. She's making money. We bought a house. We're saving money. What's wrong with it?
Now meet Susan Carpenter McMillan. Susan, also a mother, is the president of the Women's Coalition in Los Angeles. Thank you for coming out and being with us. Talk to me first about stripping. Are women losing respect today?
Well, I have to say, I know that I am risking the wrath of all of you to jump on me, but I've got to tell you, as somebody who is very pro-family, conservative, but also a feminist, I want to either shake them or hug them. I mean, I look at these women, every one of them is gorgeous and beautiful, and I just want to shake them and say, why are you throwing your lives away like this?
It's not
I hear things about, well, it's my children, it's this, it's that. It's almost, if you can have a baby and a husband who says it's okay, then it validates all of this. Well, I'm sorry. It doesn't validate it. It's wrong, it's degrading. I mean, we've worked for years as women to have men look at us not as a bunch of TNAs. Right. And now, when you walk,
it's not a degrading thing, no matter what.
When you walk into a position as an executive and you want to be interviewed, and some guy was just at a strip joint looking at these beautiful women, what's he going to think across the table? Hey, she can run such and such a department for me? Hardly. I mean, and the other thing, Sally, that really bothers me, and I just want to cry for these women and the families, their children. I mean, it may be funny to you guys out there, you little horned toads, but let me tell you something. We as women want to be looked at as equal, not something where you can sit and laugh. And let me tell you something. Would you marry a girl that did this? You want your wife? You want the mother of your child there?
He did, and he doesn't have a problem with it.
He's a rare person. I want to know how many of these guys, as beautiful as these girls are, as bright, these girls are bright and beautiful, would say, yes, I would like that as the mother of my child. Okay?
No. You're saying no?
Absolutely not.
You're saying no?
Beautiful girl.
A woman. You're a beautiful, beautiful woman.
But we're not throwing anything away.
I'm securing my future and the future of...
Oh, I think that's all a big, big cop-out excuse.
I threw away more when I was a teenager doing drugs and drinking than I do now.
We'll be right back.
As an adult.
Is it better for them to go out and...
Her mom was a stripper, she was a stripper, and she owns a strip club. Will her 2 daughters follow in the family footsteps? You won't believe what she has to say to these girls. Stay with us.
You are the five. Get off my stage.
I mean, you think it's bad that a brother walks in and says, hey, honey, your sister's hooters are really nice. What is it like for a 6-year-old kid to say, my mommy's a teacher, my mommy's a nurse? What does your mommy do? She takes off her clothes and sticks her in a man's face.
Oh yeah, and a kid's gonna know that and gonna say that.
She simulates sex on a bar, on a pole.
Yeah.
Come on.
My daughter will never say that.
Nothing. Would it bother you about your mother?
Excuse me.
Right, all right.
That was real classy coming out of your mouth, okay? They're acting classy. You're not, okay? They're not acting too classy up there. The lady with the values, do you tell your kids TITS too?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure you do.
I certainly do.
Anyways,
They can
the
watch
phony
this
bull,
or
the
believe
phony bull
breasts.
lady, the phony
Well,
bull.
from you, I'm
First
sure
of all,
would be.
it's about what they want, not about what makes you feel
And
better.
that's the
And the
sad
mother and the brother. It's what makes them feel better.
Wait a
If they're
minute.
making money out of it, stay out of it just so you could go take your nut
It's
cap
about
off,
the fire
please.
that can
The
pollute
lady
the
with the
whole
bad word.
neighborhood.
Okay.
That's the kind of attitude that allows them to continue.
Stand up.
To support themselves. That's what they got to do. It ain't about you, lady. It's about what they need to do.
I'm Randy's boyfriend, and this lady's nuts. What she's saying.
3 supportive men. Go ahead.
I like to ask, what happened to your self-pride, your self-respect for yourselves? I mean,
I have self-respect.
You still do?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Wouldn't you have more self-respect if you were getting an education?
I will when I get it.
Excuse me.
People like you
Excuse
and
me.
you and you who
What's
think
the
we're
lady
throwing our
name?
lives away are the ones who are
That's
trying to
right.
drag the self-respect
Susan.
away from us. I have all my self-respect and I know I'm going to go to school one day, okay? That's not over and done with.
You do both.
But exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, when you start to travel as a feature, okay, most schools won't let you go to school in this state and that state and this state.
You don't have to
Okay.
travel as a feature, though. Why don't you be the house girl like you were saying?
Because I
It's
want
like
a
me.
feature. I
Up
want
here.
a feature. I love to perform, and I'm not going to deny it.
And I work nights, and I go to
Okay,
school
I'm a
during
high
the day.
school
I can do it at night
student
until
myself.
2 in the morning.
Now, I applaud those women who go out and strip as long as they ain't selling their body. And if they go out and appreciate themselves and appreciate their work, it's kind of hard to go find a good paying job. You step out of high school, you got a kid. Oh, I'm gonna be an executive and a president of a company. I don't think so. As long as she appreciates herself and her child loves her,
But they are
and she's loving her
Her
child,
their
that's all
children
to it.
don't even know, and they are selling their bodies. They may not be selling their bodies in the same way that a prostitute is, but do you think those men to go in there and talk with them?
We are selling
They are
image
going in
and a
there
fantasy.
to watch them.
And then we leave.
They are selling their bodies. It's just in a different form.
It's just a fantasy. Like when
And
you see
Demi Moore was
John Clyde on
selling her
TV,
body
you
by
think,
the
I
minute.
you know.
agree with you. It is
It's
a
a fantasy. They just
but you
it's a
know what?
fantasy, so-
It's still.
Go ahead.
It's
My question's for Randy. You say your poems are too personal to share with other people. Well, isn't your body too?
I share my poems with a very select few, okay? They are my heart. My body is just flesh and bone, okay? My heart is my heart, my mind is my mind. I don't want to sell that out, and I'm not selling my body. I'm selling a fantasy, an image. I go in, I do my job, Randy stays at the club, I leave, and then I am me, and you know, I'm a completely different person than what people think of what is in the club.
Go ahead.
This is for Susan. I think what you said about them selling their bodies, they're not selling their bodies.
What are they selling?
If they were selling their bodies, they'd be making money for having sex with the person.
Well, what are they
that
selling?
They're doing
The
it
women
for.
with 300 or 400 pounds are going to go in and have a conversation with them and pay them like, $25 and $30 if they're like really big obese women.
If she's not selling her body, why
they're
did they
really not
stop her
doing
when she was
anything wrong.
pregnant?
Showing up to
What-
They're not
if
doing
she
anything
wasn't selling
wrong,
her
they're
body,
only
why did they
dancing.
stop me? I stopped
real.
myself. Why?
Because I had told you, if you were listening, I had a difficult pregnancy, and because I didn't feel comfortable up there with myself. I know women.
Have you ever seen a pregnant woman, 8 months pregnant, go out and strip?
I've heard of them. I've never seen one. But that's her decision. It was her decision to do that. No one can judge another till they walk in their shoes. You have your opinions. I have mine. We're all different people.
I don't agree.
Well, you don't have to agree.
It's really hard for a woman to make good money, so if they're paying their way in the world, I say good for them.
Go ahead. I'd like to ask the women up there, how did you meet the men you're going out with or your husbands? Did you meet them while you were stripping?
I met my husband. He was a DJ in a club, and we were best friends for about 6 months. And we still are best friends. He's a wonderful man. I'm very lucky, and he's supportive, and that's how we met.
Yes, I did meet mine in a club.
Jeanette, how did you meet your husband of 1 week?
I met him in Hawaii. I was featuring in an establishment there, and his friends were teasing him about being sheltered, and it was his first time in, and we met there. We were friends since December.
What does he do? Is he a student?
He's going to be a neurological surgeon.
Okay. Studying medicine. We'll be right back. Coming up, Fashawn isn't a stripper. However, she played one in the movie Striptease. We're going to hear what she has to say about how you learn to take it all off. Stay with us. Actually, some of our guests today could be characters out of the summer movie Striptease. They're strippers and they're moms, and they make money taking it off. Not everyone agrees with their lifestyle. Now, I think this is going to surprise you. This is Sandy. Sandy's mom was a stripper. Sandy was a stripper. In the 60s, Sandy?
Yes.
Sandy now owns her own strip club. And she says that what they have to do today is disgusting, bumping and grinding and caressing poles and rolling around on the floor. Now, a woman said, I think it's beautiful, I think it's an art form, one of our guests in the audience. Was it at one time?
Yes, it
In the
was.
era of Gypsy Rose Lee, was it beautiful? Was
Yes,
it a
it
dance
was.
form?
Yes, it was.
What was the difference? What
Well, the
did they-
difference is we wore beautiful costumes, rhinestones, sequins. We had the music that went with the costumes. It was a show. We didn't know what floor work was. We didn't know what it was to swing from a pole, a swing, anything like that. It was actual art, and it was beautiful.
And what happened?
I don't know if it came into the 90s or a change of personality of the type of girl that went into the business. But as far as California, I don't know about every other state, but as far as California, I've watched it go down. The girls now, they're on the floor. They're doing what they call floor work.
Not all girls.
I don't do that.
No. I don't know about where you guys are from.
Not
I'm
speaking
talking
personally.
about
But
California.
generally, stripping today, you've said, is disgusting.
Yes, it is. It's nothing like it used to be. And of course, when Gypsy Rose Lee was around, it was an art. Today, the girls are all over the floor. They're swinging from poles. They're licking poles. They're up and down the poles. To me, that's disgusting. We didn't have anything like that when I started dancing. It was a show. We had to perform. We had to actually entertain, if you will.
Why do you think the girls today are doing this? Why are they stripping?
I don't really know for sure. I mean, they're still making good money, but it's just not the same. The ambiance is not the same at all.
You heard what Greg said to his sister when you were backstage.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think that he needs to cut the umbilical cord. He sounds like his mother. Cut the umbilical cord. Be a man.
Oh, I am a
Think
man.
for
That's why-
yourself.
Oh, I completely think for myself, but I have my
He's
family in mind
100%
as well.
man.
I'm not selfish like a lot of these people are that I've come across around here. I don't know about you, but you strike me as one of those as well. I want to make my
Very
whole family.
selfish?
I'm proud of my family. I'm not just proud of myself and what I accomplished.
And in defense
I like to
of
say
my
my
brother,
family.
In defense of my brother,
I'm not me.
it was the
me, me,
three
me.
of us
Selfish.
only
I'm not a
growing
selfish
up.
person. Before my
so
before
it's
my
only
aunt
right
passed
for him
away,
to
I
be that
supported
way
my
towards
entire
me.
family in Oklahoma.
Okay, but
Thank you.
that's really too bad.
But thank you for.
Okay. Susan, the dancers make a lot of money. What do you think they should be doing instead to make money?
Well, I mean, I think it's obvious that they're not going to make the same kind of money. I mean, I think the one girl makes almost $200,000 a year. And I guess if money was the end-all and the beginning of everything like it is for some people, then morals and values and all of that is really secondary to making money. But for me, as a mother of an 18-year-old and an 11-year-old, I may not make the money that they make, but I've got to tell you, I don't hide what I do from my children. They know what I do. They're proud of me. I'm sorry to hear somebody say that cut the umbilical cord to this very handsome young man, because I've got to tell you, I think the problem is that we now, if I do it and it's not hurting anyone, then so what? We live together, and yes, like it or not, we are our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper. And if people don't want anything I have to say or do, then keep your money out of your hands from my pocketbook and my taxes, too.
Amen.
Go ahead.
Randy.
I hate to tell you, but strippers pay taxes.
Randy,
too.
you had mentioned that you just love to perform.
Yes, I do.
Have you ever thought of pursuing singing or acting?
Or dancing.
I can't sing. That would be a really terrible
Well,
thing to put
drama,
anybody
then.
through. And as far as me
What about
doing
being a
something else-
dancer?
Pardon?
What about being another type of
On
dancer?
Broadway.
Well, I was raised. I went through many years of dance lessons and training. I had 4 knee surgeries. My doctor told me at 11 years old, never going to be able to dance again. I would not be able to put up with the rigors of a
I see.
Broadway show, only because of my knees. This, I control what I do. I control the amount of movement, and I move.
It would be
And what she was
impossible.
saying about the performance part, maybe a lot of the house girls don't get the opportunity to do that. It's not like on Striptease where the girls could end up, each one came out like a feature. You know, the features are the only ones who really get to do that performance part, and that's why I want to go that avenue, you know?
Go ahead, young
creative
man.
outlet.
Yes, for your children. If your children ask you to stop stripping, would you stop?
If the brother and the mother and the rest of the family asks him, I can't imagine the son having much more pull.
That's
Very
a lot
interesting
to
question.
say.
Would
That's
y'all stop?
If my daughter asked me to stop, I'd stop.
But all the rest of your family could ask and you'd say
They
no.
haven't asked me because they
Well,
respect
I'm
me for the
asking you a
person that I
hypothetical
am.
question. I'm asking you a
I
hypothetical
know what my
question.
mother thinks.
And she really wishes you would stop, just like I wish she would stop.
My mother
her
loves
mom
me for who
supports
I
her.
am. And
Her mom
and
loves
she
her
supports
baby
me.
while
No,
she
I
goes
know
on
that
the
it's
road
hard
and
for
is able to
you.
make
It's
some
very
money.
hard for you, and I feel for you, but she's a, you know, she seems like she's a very nice girl.
She
She's
is.
intelligent.
She is
She'll
very
find her
smart.
way and make her own
She
decision.
doesn't drink, she doesn't do drugs. She is a good-hearted person, and she's smart. However, she's wasting this.
But you're acting like you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You know, I'm
No,
not, because of what I do for a living, then all those other things are not important?
All that is important.
Go ahead.
Yes,
When
this
I
is for
had
Randy.
you many years ago, it
Randy.
took me 9 years to get you.
Yes, I know.
Hi, Randy. Listen, I heard you say that you was planning on going back to school and whatnot. I just wanted to let you know, the longer it takes before you get back there, the harder it is to get back.
Exactly.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Let me advise that.
Vashon isn't a stripper. However, she played one in the movie Striptease. We're going to hear what she has to say about how you learn to take it all off. Stay with us.
You are the fire. Get off my stage.
Please welcome Vashon Wilson to the show. No, Pashon is not a stripper. Well,
No, I just
sort
play
of.
one.
Sort of. Pashon is the actress who portrayed the stripper Sabrina Hepburn in the movie Striptease. So it's an acting job,
Yeah.
right? We wanted to talk to you because we wanted to know, well, first, what kind of character was Sabrina?
Sabrina Hepburn, actually in the movie, when I dance as a cat, which I know, you like that? I wasn't sure how most strippers were going to take that because I was in full cat makeup and full cat costume.
Phenomenal.
And it was more like Cats, the Broadway show, than anything that I'd ever seen in a strip joint, but I was happy because it was different. So my character was Sabrina Hepburn, and she was the most intelligent of the strippers at the Eagle Beaver Club.
Where Demi Moore danced.
Actually, aside from Demi Moore, her character was very intelligent also.
What, is this the first time you've ever played a stripper?
Actually, it's not. It's not. It's actually the third time, but hopefully the last, because I'd like to branch out into some other areas. But I played a stripper in an independent film that I co-produced, so that was very empowering. And then I did it in an off-Broadway show. And then I also did it in this movie. So I'm hoping to move on to other areas. Now, between the off-Broadway show and the movie, I did a children's show in malls. So I have a burgeoning fan club of little 4- and 5-year-old
So maybe no more
kids.
strippers for a while.
Yeah.
How did you get ready to do the part? I mean, what did you do to prepare?
Well, when I did the film, the woman who did the costumes was a stripper, and she was working on her master's, and she was a very nice person. If you saw her in the street, just like, you know, these ladies here, you would think she was just a normal human being. You would not look at her and think that she was a stripper.
Right.
So I basically based my character on her. She was a nice human being who stripped to make money to put herself through school.
Which is the story you've heard today, and there's some very strong opinions in our society about stripping. What is your opinion of what you've heard?
Well, it's funny. When I got the off-Broadway play, because I had been raised in such a strict religious upbringing, I felt kind of nervous about it, and so nervous that I actually got sick. So I called my mom, and I told her, you know, that I'm not feeling well, and I got this role, and she said, well, what are you playing? I said, I'm playing a stripper, and she was like, so what? And my mother was Muslim, so she dressed in, like, you know, all this covered up garb, and she was like, not now, but she was, you know, when I was younger. So she was like, so what? She was like, who are you to judge? You know, who are you to judge? You are an actress. Play that role. Give her some dignity. Give her some intelligence, and do the best you can.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Let's talk to somebody who, in a way, has been there. This is Debbie Nigro, and we would like to welcome her to the show. Debbie hosts... She has a very interesting skill. Debbie hosts her own radio talk show, and she deals with... It's called The Working Mom on the Run, and Debbie is the mother of an 8-year-old daughter, and is divorced?
Yeah, and I have a perpetual fiance.
Okay.
But as I listen to this, I also look at Greg, and I think if there were more men like Greg in this country, less women would be having to strip to make money to raise their children. Number one, I don't at all fault the women here. They're all bright, smart women. And, you know, if they paid teachers $7,000 every 2 weeks, they might have chosen the teaching profession. So, you know. On the third front, you know, we have a problem with women, unfortunately, in this country, at some time in their life, going to be responsible for their whole future. 90% of the women are going to have to be totally responsible for their finances. You better darn well get a marketable skill, because this is not going to last long. And so every woman in this country, if you choose to make money doing this, you better go to school during the day, you better learn computers, you better get out there and learn to do something. And
if they had a marketable skill...
They better have a marketable skill. You
they wouldn't be doing this, or they'd be doing it and they would have something to go to.
Every woman in this country has an obligation to herself and her kids to be able to provide for their family. And it can't be this forever. It's unfortunate. But if it makes you happy, do it. Think ahead and prepare yourself.
That's why I started doing this, because I didn't have the marketable skills. And
maybe I made mistakes because I didn't go to school right out of, high school straight into college.
Nip it in the bud.
That's where you get your marketable skills at. That's where the
Whoever's
marketable
saying
skills
that, I
are
will
found.
go.
She does have marketable skills.
Well, I can
Number
still go
one,
later.
there isn't a woman watching
She's
this
saying
show
you do
today
have-
that wouldn't give anything to look like that. With a straight A student, this girl has it all. And literally to throw it away, it's why your mom and brother are so heartbroken.
To go to college.
Listen, I had
Somebody gives me a scholarship to go to school.
Well, I got to
Everybody, I have a question for you.
What about your
She has
son?
so many marketable skills.
me.
She
This girl
does, I
is
agree.
starting
Excuse me.
out with an 11
I'm
on a
so
scale
sorry.
of
I
1
have
to
no clue
10.
what your name is, but I have a question for you,
Susan.
please. Susan, thank you. Can you please tell me why you put everybody down that does this? No.
I will be more than happy. I will be absolutely more than, for several reasons. I think number one, as women, it is a very degrading thing to do.
It's not. Only if you let it be.
I think. Wait a minute. Do I have my opinion? Who are you? I have the right to my opinion.
What to do or how
I'm not
what
telling you what to do, lady.
But you think it's
asked me
degrading?
why I
maybe
felt
for
like that.
you.
I have the right to feel that that's degrading. I believe that
Yes,
I
but
want
each
my
individual
children
has their
to be
own
a
right to
very
decide whether they feel it's degrading
wait a
or
minute,
not.
if
And I'm
it's
sorry,
not-
I don't feel that it is.
Obviously, well, some of you must feel it's degrading because you won't even tell your children what you do.
I'll tell her what I do. I have no problem telling her what I do.
You say it's very different. Obviously, it must be very degrading because you all are hiding it from your children.
Telling his kids what he's doing.
Well, I'm not-
You think the woman who goes out on weekends and has casual sex with men is
Why
telling
do
her
we
children
have
what
to-
she's
wait a
doing?
minute, the very fact that you justify what you do by going to the lowest common denominator tells me that you have some shame in it.
I'm talking about the girl who's in college who goes out and sleeps with the football
Who's
team.
agreeing with
or the
that?
girl, no, listen to me. Or the girl who goes to work and she's trying to sleep her way to the top. You think they're telling their kids what they do?
Absolutely not, but who
to
agrees
you,
with
they
that?
would not be
All right,
degrading.
but wait
to
a
you,
minute.
they would be upstanding young ladies,
Well,
and they
then
would
why
be.
would you think I would say something like that?
Because
That's
you
a
wouldn't know.
ludicrous
You would be
statement.
looking at the outer shell.
Wait a
You would
minute,
not
but
be
I
looking
would
at the
look, as
inside
your brother
person.
said, if you got into
You wouldn't be
medical
looking at
school
the inside
with that
person.
kind of
Excuse me.
brain, you could make 4 times what you're making,
After I
and
go
you
to-
wouldn't have to
after I go
hide
to
what you do.
college.
Susan,
I don't
can
hide it.
elaborate on what she was saying?
Sure.
The reason that I don't tell my daughter what I do is because of the views society have towards strippers. She's a little girl. She's innocent. She's going to go to school and say, oh, mommy's a dentist, my mommy's a stripper. She's not going to think it's anything wrong, but the other
That's
people in
right.
the room are. And so I protect her adamantly because of the one-sided views society have towards strippers.
That's why
Go ahead, Deb. Go ahead,
By the
Debbie.
time she's old
I am
enough to realize
not knocking
this will
strippers,
be
but I want you
passe.
as women to think of how important it is to have the respect of another woman. And I mean, when you respect, and especially in this day and age when women have really made such great strides and they're helping each other along, women looking at you would not respect you because I'll tell you why. Because they've chosen a tougher path of making it without having to compromise themselves to men. And
As
look,
long as you have
there's
respect
nothing
for yourself,
wrong.
is that not all that matters?
There's nothing wrong about pleasing men, but there is something wrong about ignoring the fact that you are a woman who has some integrity.
It's the girls that cross the line that lose their integrity. But there's a lot of women who come into those clubs and they'll say, God, honey, if I only had the nerve or the body, I would be up there doing it
See,
with
you
you.
say I woulda,
No,
coulda, shoulda.
once.
Individual.
No, they'd be
I don't
doing
judge
it.
these
They would
women
be
for what
doing
they're
it.
doing. I don't judge these women. It's very individual. What you're saying, your message is important. The women who are in this field, who just need some positive reinforcement to get out, they'll take what you're saying and perhaps they'll use it to get out. But the women who have a strong sense of their self and who are doing it basically just to make the money so that they can make a good environment for their children, they're going to continue to do it and they're going to raise wonderful children.
But it's not But it does, Sally. I think we have to agree, like it or not, it's a luxury to say what I do doesn't affect you. But that's not true. What they do affects all of us as women and how we're viewed.
Well, it's up to us as women.
I'm not one that frequents the stripper. I don't go to stripper bars, period. And I don't condone what these ladies do because I'm a performer. But on the same sense, you know, her brother and her mother are pushing her away by saying, we don't like what you do. You know, I worked in a 5-star hotel for 5 years, and the first thing a group of salesmen came, or a group of men came up and say, you know, where the stripper bars at? You know, if it wasn't out there for them to make the money, you know, they're making money now where they're young, and I can see their point, but you're living in the Leave It to Beaver days of the mom was. I'm sorry. I have a 14-year-old sister. I have a 14-year-old sister, and if she chooses to do this, then that's what she chooses to do. She'll be an adult when she chooses to do that.
You can laugh
but
all
I'm not
you
gonna
want at
push her
the
away.
Leave It to Beaver days, but I got to tell you something. It would be very nice to have women looked at in a more professional way instead of just a sex symbol. I mean, would you please? I'm sure you as a man would think that.
I
Would you like your
what
wife up there
Susan's
doing
saying.
that?
Not enough people are
Oh, why
standing
not?
up. Not enough people are standing up for the morals, and that's why this world is so screwed up.
you.
Because of people like you that believe stuff like that. That's crap.
I mean,
that's crap. You've got to think of the kids. I don't care what you guys do. Think of the little kids.
But how interesting that he said if she wants to do it, fine. I said, do you want your wife to do it? Oh, no, oh, no, oh, no.
You don't want their daughters doing it?
Well, why wouldn't you want your wife to do it if there's nothing wrong with it?
I don't look at these. I don't look at ladies
it?
as sex symbols. I look at ladies and I say, you know, she's a nice-looking young lady.
Then why wouldn't you want your wife to do it?
I wouldn't want my wife to do it because my wife is going to be a home wife.
Oh!
I'll be right back.
About me. Yes, I know. I'll say the same thing. It's been a year. I'm Italian. But before you go make an assumption, before you go make an assumption, we cause every earthquake in Finland.
But you know, you have to take a higher road because
Carrie is bringing Chelsea down to see Kay, and Kay's going to keep her there with her for like. And then when I came home, it even made me.
I think Debbie made, if you were watching today, Debbie made an extremely important point. She said, times have changed and women need to have very good skills if they're going to survive. And the skills really should not be attached to the way you look or to somebody being interested in you for a sexual reason. It should be something you can do your whole life and be very proud of. I wish that to you. See you next time.
You are the Five.